What's up, Everyday Athlete Podcast Network? Thanks for joining us on this fireside chat. I'm going to be talking to Adria DeLaune, who is Trail Runner 615 on Instagram. She's been a friend of Run Try Bike itself and a friend of myself and Lori's for some time now. And so it's really exciting to get a chance to chat with her and let you guys get to know a little bit more about the person that we know and love. Before I bring her on, do me a favor. Please subscribe, rate, and review the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network on your favorite podcast platform. I'm asking for 5 stars. If you're inclined to give me less than that, please email me first, Jason at runtrymag.com. I'd love to know what we can do to make this show and all of our other shows better for your listening enjoyment and pleasure. So without any more rambling from me, let's bring Adrian onto the show and let's have some fun. Hi, my friend. How are you?
Hey, buddy. I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. This is a little bit different of a setting for us because the last time you and I chatted, you were talking as a guest speaker to my business law class, which was kind of fun.
Yes, I was pretending to be an adult.
Me too. They don't know any different.
Story of my life. Just pretend until they tell you it's not working.
If you know the phrase "fake it till you make it," it's more
Mm-hmm.
like "fake it till you bury me." That's it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's me. That's me 100%.
All right. Icebreaker question. I don't know if we need to even have an icebreaker. We know each other already, but we're going to ask anyway.
Oh, God. Okay.
Pineapple on pizza. Yay or
Yes.
nay?
Oh,
No. Okay.
absolutely.
This was the shortest podcast episode we've ever had. Minute 45 seconds.
Thank you and goodbye. No, okay, but here's how you make it absolutely clutch, right? Okay, so Domino's offers a barbecue sauce option instead of marinara sauce. So thin crust, barbecue sauce, extra cheese, pineapple, done.
Okay. Do
It's
me a
amazing.
favor. Next time you're ready to do that, don't call Domino's. Call the local barbecue place and get a sandwich.
I mean, look, we have to have some differences of opinion or else the world would be boring, right?
No, it's not a difference of opinion. You can get your barbecue pulled pork sandwich with pineapple and sit at the same table as I am while I'm eating a plain cheese slice pizza. Like, we're good.
I'm a pescatarian though, so I'd be out of luck with the barbecue pulled pork. Can I have barbecued shrimp?
Yes, you can absolutely have barbecue shrimp on
Okay,
a sandwich, on a hoagie, on a po' boy. You can do all of that, but you can't put it on pizza.
I'll take it. Agree to disagree.
Have you ever had fried shrimp on pizza? Oh, okay.
No, but I listen. If you know anything about me, you know that I am not afraid of challenges. So let's rock.
Speaking of challenges, did you ever do the Hot Rod 24 to 12-hour event?
It's
Oh,
next
it's
week.
next week. Is
Yeah, it's the 27th. So
Okay.
yeah,
Do you have Whitney Houston dialed up for the go at 4 hours and 1 minute?
I do.
For the listeners who
I
have no
do. I'm
idea what
ready.
we're talking about, I once ran around a 1 mile loop to the song Dance Monkey for 4 hours. That happens to be the current record for the Run Try Bike community. And Adria is going to try to break that with Whitney Houston. I want to dance with somebody on a inside of a baseball stadium on the concourse, which I'm giving you the exponential hardness because that's going to be on concrete in a baseball stadium that's empty. Woof.
Yeah, and it's like a third of a round. I think it's
Oh,
something insanely short.
I didn't
Yeah,
realize. I thought it was going to be longer than that. Oh my goodness.
I could be wrong, but I think I read that somewhere. But either way, I'm going to be running in not circles, but around and around and around and around.
A
It's like
loop
they
with
say,
angles.
yeah, yeah. They say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's a timed race for you.
Yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, brings me to the question: like, why timed race? Like, when I first started, before you answer, when I first started running, and I got introduced to looped or timed events, I was like, I just can't do it. Like, I give me a point to point all day, every day.
Hmm.
But as I've grown in this sport, I've come to actually appreciate what it takes from a strategy standpoint and from a mental standpoint to do a looped event or a timed event. So how did, like, were you one of those people like me, like give me a point to point, or, you know, a large loop and not a repetitive loop, and then you moved into this, or were you moved into this to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, I started kind of accidentally, I guess. I didn't really know that the first ultra that I signed up for was 5-10K loops. But it was fine because my mom crewed for me, and God love her, my mom is an inside cat. And so for her to crew for a trail ultra, I mean, but she's a trooper, and she sat there, and every time I came in, she gave me water and, you know, tailwind and whatever else I needed and snacks. And she made a bunch of friends, and she called them her trail family. Like, okay, you do you. I love it. You do you. So that was really good for that
Yep.
situation. And then from there, I did, you know, some longer out and backs and point to points. And then I don't even remember when I jumped into the 24-hour race puddle. But I
Yep.
remember thinking this is so much more of a mental
Yes.
challenge for me. I mean, it is a physical challenge depending on what you're running on. Like, for example, I actually ran a 12-hour race in 2021 or 2022, and I actually cut it at 50K. And I still had hours on the clock because, first of all, I was racing a 60K literally the next weekend. And they weren't supposed to be that close together, but because of the
Right.
pandemic, they had both been deferred, and they ended up being on back-to-back weekends. One, it was boiling hot in Alabama. The other one, it was snowing in Kentucky. And so it was literally, I posted on my Instagram what a difference a week
No
makes.
kidding.
And it's a picture of me with a sunburn and a picture of me. Literally, all you can see is this part of my face because I have on sunglasses. I have a buff up to here. I have on a beanie. I have like 18 layers because I am not a cold weather person. I love running in cold weather, but I'm not naturally a cold weather person, so I tend to overcompensate with a lot of layers, and I looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy. But those pictures are kind of, you know, the two sides of who I am as a runner. And I like the challenge of the looped race because, first of all, anybody can do it. I mean, anybody can do any distance if they train for
Yeah.
it, but anybody can do, you know, I had 4 friends in a race a couple weeks ago become ultra marathoners when that was never their
Right.
intent. But they went to, I mean, 2 of them set out to do it, but the 2 others were like, well, I still have time on the clock. I'm just going to go for it. And they did. And now they're all ultra marathoners because they all did, you know, 31 point whatever loops of this 1 mile
I think
course.
that's such an
And so
important
I think,
that's such an
oh, I'm
important
sorry, go
that's such an
ahead.
important point to make. My first time was at a looped event like that was that I noticed this. Lori was racing at the Beyond Limits Ultra, and there was a lady there
Mhm.
with a walker, right? She had knee surgery not that long ago, and so she was still at the tail end of her rehab, and she had a walker going around certain parts of this trail. And just imagine if this was like a point to point or a large 100-mile loop or whatever it was, she wouldn't have been able to do it. Yet here she was competing, and I think she was doing like 4 or 5 days. Like, so she was out there, which is also mind-boggling to me. Um, and earning every one of those miles and earning that finish line, like it practically brought me to tears watching all the different people who, under a circumstance like a point to
Mhm.
point or a super large loop, probably wouldn't finish for various reasons. And now they
Mhm.
had the chance to do it, and in a way that was safe, which, you know, we have to remember, right? Safety. It was community, because if you're on this particular race is a 2 mile loop, but a 1 mile loop, 2 mile, you're seeing people, you're connecting with them, you're engaging with them in conversation.
Mhm.
Before you know it, you're best of friends and you're laughing with everything. I just, it's an amazing experience.
And some of my favorite people in the world have been people that I ran one loop with. And we ended up, connecting and following each other on Instagram, and now we're friends. And, when I go to their cities, we hang out. When they come to Nashville, we hang out. And so it's just a really soul fueling experience because, that I believe running is for everybody. Anybody that wants to run should have access to that. And I think timed races and looped courses allow for that in a much different way than a point to point with a ton of elevation or, really gritty trail that, maybe somebody who is in a wheelchair or, has some other issue that is causing them to not be, maybe they can't breathe as well as they would like to be able to. And having the option of having one loop where they can come back, and if they need to sit down, they can, or, if they need to fuel, they can. And I just really like loops drive some people crazy. Give me a loop any day of the week. And a lot of that for me is one, providing accessibility in running, which I think is amazing.
Yes.
But two, I love to see people when I race. I love it. I love to come into an aid station and there are people come in, like Tunnel Hill is one of my favorite races because when you come through the midpoint, there are people everywhere and they're all cheering and they're all excited. And maybe not when you come through at 3:00 in the morning on the second loop, 100, that's a different story. But, on the first cut through on the 50. And I just love that. Yes. I also am just noticing that I put badass under title as a joke and it showed up on the screen.
I saw it from the beginning.
I should know better.
I saw it from the beginning and I was like, I'm not deleting that. It's totally true. It is 100% true. It's as accurate as a statement can be. Here's the thing that I've grown in this sport and have realized over time. I've been doing this stuff for 17, 18 years. Right? There's no moral superiority to any of this shit. If you run 5Ks, awesome. If you run 250 miles, awesome. If you run roads, awesome. If you run trails, awesome. If you run point to point, awesome. If you run a looped event, awesome. Like you're not morally better because you do one particular type of race or enjoy it over another. And here's the other thing. I'm a big variety is the spice of life. Diversity makes us all better. If you can go and run a point to point, run a large ass loop, run a tight 1 to 2 mile loop, like you're going to be challenging yourself in so many different ways that you're going to automatically become just a better athlete through it all and a better person when it's all said and done because of the people you meet.
Oh, for sure. Oh, absolutely. And I always tell people, and I'm going to try to say that I'm not bragging on myself because sometimes I do really stupid things in running. But for example, I ran in the span of 5 months, a 50K, a 100 miler, an 80 miler, and a 100K. All in 5 months. I don't recommend it unless you're well trained for it and you're really excited about it, which I was. It took me a long time to recover from that. All that being said, I can't run a solid 5K to save my life. My 5K time is slow as molasses. Like I might as well be a brand new runner again because I always say in my training cycles, I can go far or I can go fast. I cannot do both of them at the same time.
I told Joe yesterday I'm more of a candle than a match. Like 5Ks are out. They just hurt way too much.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's why I admire people who get out there and crush a 5K because it crushes me.
Yes.
I ran a 5K on Labor Day. And afterwards, I was so gassed. And I told somebody, I said, this is harder than any trail ultra I have ever 100%. Done. Is doing this road 5K. It was 100%. Hard. So, props to everybody that runs everything from, from here to the corner all the way to 200 and 300 miles. I think that is amazing. And the question is, everybody asks online is when do you become a runner? The second you start running.
Yeah. When both feet are off the ground. That's
the definition.
You are a runner. I don't care if it's at 6 minutes a mile. I don't care if it's at 16 minutes a mile. If both feet are off the ground, you're a runner. Period. End of story. That's it.
Exactly. And the thing that I love the most about running, and that's such a unifying thing about running, is, and you may have heard me say this before in some other conversation, we've finish line of any race from 1 mile, even a race on the track, even a short race on the track, from that really short race to 200 and 300 miles, and you see the vitality and the stick-to-itiveness, human spirit, when people cross that finish line, because they've either done something they worked really hard for, they've done something they didn't know they could do, or they've done something that's made themselves proud. Hopefully, it's some combination of those two. I would like to think everybody would be proud when they cross the finish line. But for people that don't believe that shorter distance running, even if it's, moderately fast, is not as good as long distance running, go stand at a finish line. Go stand at a finish line and watch people finish from the first person to the last person, and tell me that you don't see within that crossing of the finish line something happen to the person that crosses the finish 100%. Line. And it's not about the finish line. It's about everything that got you there within the race, outside of the race. And I could go on for days. I know that we don't have 6 hours for this conversation, but I could go on for days about the psychology of the finish line. I'm a nerd, and I think this is why Lori and I get along. I love research, even if it's not in my own field of expertise, and I will go read all kind of stuff. But the psychology of the finish line is, it's this idea that when we finish, we've accomplished something, but it's all the stuff before and everything we've done to prepare for that makes that accomplishment worthwhile.
It's amazing. Before we go on, thank you to Allison for being on the show on Instagram, and Stephanie, thank you for being here, and Give a Mile, thank you for joining us too. If you guys have questions, comments, drop them in there. I am paying attention to them, so we'll get them to you. Here's the thing that I have thought about since we started Run Try Bike as a company, is like knocking down the gatekeeping, which is what we're talking about when it comes to running and distances and paces. We're addressing that. One of the things that I love about your posts, and I think it was the 5K, is the people that you were surrounded by. The people in those pictures with smiles from ear to ear. They were not all 6'2" white males, right? There were women in there. There were men in there that were Black. There were people in there that were going to run, slow to the back of the pack. There were people in those pictures that were mid pack. Like for an easy thing to process, it was like the United Nations of running, right? There's just people from all over the place. When you go to a race and you see people from different cultures with different body sizes, like, how does that make you feel? What does that bring out of you? Like, is there enjoyment in seeing that? And you're like, oh, how do we get more people involved?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's not just size, it's not just height, it's not just gender, it's not just skin color, it's not just those things. It's also including, people who have had cancer and are coming back to running, people who have had, who have dealt with disability. But seeing all of those people out on a course, there's a reason I wear sunglasses at races. And it has only a little bit to do with the fact that my eyes are sun sensitive. I tear up constantly during especially road races with a lot of people there. And I love to see people embracing running, and it doesn't matter who they are. And I think one of the things that we as a trail running community need to do better is expansion and inclusivity. And I think there are some groups doing amazing work. Like if you listen to Sabrina Pace Humphreys, who runs Black Trail Runners in the UK, they're doing some amazing work on the brand side and telling their story and talking about, the barriers to entry of getting more Black people into running and into trail running. And how do we get, people who have hesitancy because they have a disability on the trail in a safe way, and so all of those things to me light up my soul when people find joy in running.
I didn't pay you
because, and
I didn't pay you to make that statement. I didn't pay
Say
you to
that
make that statement, but part of our clubhouse tomorrow on the 18th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be hosting a panel discussion with Dr. Allison Roy, who is on the Instagram Live, who is a visually impaired runner who set the course record at the Vermont 100. Rach McBride, they're joining us, and we'll be talking about non-binary athletes in endurance sports. And then Dr. Des Taylor Douglas will be joining us as well, who is a gay Black man. And he runs trails. And so exactly what you're saying is exactly what we're bringing the panel discussion together for, is to talk about, how they feel when they show up to start lines and what they're seeing around them, to what can we as athletes, because we can't always put it on the race directors to make all the changes. We as athletes have to make changes ourselves to be more supportive and welcoming. And then talk about race directors and races and run clubs and how they can be more welcoming to athletes of all different shapes, sizes, colors, abilities, and everything else in between, because our sports are better when more people are involved.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
Side note.
And I know that you didn't pay me to say that, but you can if you want to. Yeah, Matt, send a check. Or Venmo me, that's fine.
Side note, Lori's on the Instagram Live, and she said, I think that Adria just called me a nerd. She did. 100% she did.
You're welcome. I'm a nerd too. So
so Joe and I talk all the time, obviously. And we had a What's in Your Earbuds podcast last week that we just published. And we were talking about your MySpace song, right? And he was like, oh, this is so embarrassing and everything else. And I'm like, dude, we're all fucking cringe. Like, we are all nerds. We are all cringe. Like, this idea that somehow, some way, that none of us, that there's somebody out there who's not cringe and somebody who's not a nerd. Like, the person who would say I'm not a nerd, if they were really into football and I started asking them trivia about football, they would be like, blah, 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 right? Right?
Nerdery.
Like, we're all nerdy. We're all cringy. We're all weird. Like, just embrace the shit, man. Just lean into it.
I've been weird since forever. So this is it. This is what you get. But side note, my MySpace song was I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Perfect.
It has literally been my favorite song since I was 5. And I'm not kidding. You can ask my mom. My entire life. I had the Whitney Houston cassette, and I used to play it on my white, purple, and pink boombox when I was little bitty. And then I got the CD, played on my CD player, and then I downloaded the MP3. Now I just stream the heck out of it on Spotify, and I feel fairly certain that I am responsible for roughly 65% of the streams every year of that song.
A nerd would have been 64.8%. They wouldn't have rounded up.
Well,
or 65.3.
I mean, probably closer to that. It is my most listened to song every single year. And I am not embarrassed about that.
Don't be embarrassed. We have some comments coming in from Instagram. Stephanie, thank you very much. We are having a fun time, and it is an amazing conversation. Stephanie also comments, the finish line is an amazing concept. Her finish line is a specific tree at Cherry Creek, and it has the same purpose as a line daily on her runs. She's had different feelings when she gets to that tree. And I think that's really indicative of finish lines for anybody, right? There's the finish line you get to that you didn't think you would get to, and you made it, and there's like this outpouring of emotion. Look, clearly I wear my emotions on my sleeves. I think that's what we as Sagittarians do. I cry at nearly every finish line, right? And it's either because I didn't think I would get there, or holy shit, I made it here, and for all that hard work paid off. Every finish line is different. Every emotion is different. And I think that's also what's really cool about running. And finish lines don't have to be at races either, right? You get through a hard workout. it's why we have the we finish, we dance thing, right? That's it. It really is it.
Which I need to do.
So get this. Rebecca Bowman has agreed to give us a monthly dance class. So for the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse members.
Hey,
So what we're gonna do is every month we'll have
let's
a different
go.
We Finish, We Dance challenge for everybody to do. I'm so pumped.
I love it. I love it. I'm so excited.
I was gonna ask.
No, but the finish line concept. I'm
No,
sorry.
you
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I was going to say the finish line concept is also so interesting to me because I'm a Sagittarius as well. I don't ever cry for myself. That has rarely been the case. But honestly, the only finish line I never cried at was my 100-miler. And here's why. Because I finished last. I finished 12 minutes before the cutoff.
Okay.
There were people behind me, but they got their 50-mile time and their buckle. And I also love races that do that. Like if you've done one of the distances that they have, you should be, rewarded with that time and that distance. But that's my personal opinion. A lot of people have differing opinions on that. That race, I think I was just so that race took a lot out of me, not because of the distance, but because it rained like torrential downpour for 8.5 hours in the middle of the night.
Oh.
And so I'm running in the dark. I'm by myself. I didn't have a pacer. My brother was crewing me. God bless my brother. He was the saving grace, not just for me, but for the other 6 runners he ended up crewing. He's like, hey, I made a bunch of new friends and I'm crewing for him now. So, that's great, buddy. Happy to share, I think.
I love it.
I just I got to that finish line and there wasn't really a question of whether I was going to beat because I was always at least 10 minutes ahead. And I knew even if I have to walk the last mile, because my knee blew up at mile 39. So that was fun. But a quarter of a mile from the finish line, it did it again. And so I had to drag myself the last quarter mile. And then I didn't run across the line. Like if you watch the video, I just walk across it and do a fist pump downward. And that's apparently my new thing because the pictures looked cool. But yeah, every other finish line, I cry watching other people achieve their goals.
It is amazing. By the way, what race were you at that rained for 8.5 hours and you basically Tunnel Hill? Where is that located?
Mm-hmm. Vienna, Illinois. It's not Vienna. They'll fuss at you if you say Vienna. It's Vienna.
Because my very first 100 was at Lake Martin in Alabama, and it rained almost the entire race, where we were up to our knees in mud practically for the entire race. Like the DNF rate was sky high. I think I was one of like 25 or 30 finishers out of somewhere like 100 plus people. Like, I mean, it was horrible. The conditions. And like you, I have a picture. I'll share it on the Run Try Bike stories of me with my fist up in the air as I'm literally walking, because I am just so spent mentally, physically. Like there was no smiling, there was no crying. It was just like, okay, I'm done and I want to go the fuck home now. Like that's it.
Yep. Get me back to the Airbnb and give me some pasta to shove into my face immediately. That's all I want.
And the thing,
thank you for the buckle. This has been lovely. I'll see you guys next year.
It's amazing that these similarities exist. Like I literally took a donut off the table and I threw myself into the car for my buddies to drive me to the Airbnb. I'm like, I'm done, man. Like no words, nothing. Nothing.
Before we got to the car, my brother, again, I love my brother. So when I say this, please know I love him with my whole heart. He's my favorite brother. He's also my only brother, but he's my favorite brother. Before we got to the car, he goes, I think I want to run this race next year. Want to do it with me? And I said, no, I don't want to do anything right now. And so we get back to the Airbnb. We start talking about it. And he said, I really think I want to run the 50. I want that to be my first 50. Will you run it with me? And I said, no, I will sign up for the 50 as well. We will start together and you will finish 3 to 5 business days before me. And so we will run the same race. We will get the same buckle. We will visit the same aid stations, but no, we will not be running that race together.
Great line. Thank you to Harold Benali for joining us. Thank you for Cammie the Trinut for joining us. Christopher Hartzler and Run Shani Run, thank you for joining us. Lori, I'm with you. She said, I'm here for the disabled runners race, 100%. Stephanie said that she laughed at us talking about being Sagittarians. She said that she's an Aries, stubborn as hell, and so the tree is vital. I'm all in on all of it. Like, I am going to celebrate the living daylights out of everything that you do all the time, 100%. One of the things we didn't talk about is how you got into running. Like, how did this become a thing for you?
I took some really bad advice. No, I actually moved to Philadelphia for law school, and I didn't know anybody. I literally knew not a single person. And so I said, okay, what can I do? And I saw this poster that they were signing up clubs at the law school. And I said, okay, I would like to start a club, and I'll make some friends that way. And so I went to the office where they talk about it, and they said, oh yeah, we have this club, we have this club. You know what we don't have? We don't have a running club if you'd like to start that. And I went, okay.
As a Sagittarian, you're challenging me? Challenge accepted.
I had never run a mile. Yeah, I had never run a mile on purpose. I was a dancer. You know, I played soccer and softball and volleyball as a kid. So I ran as part of sport, but not for fun. So my mom came in a couple weekends later to visit, and we went down to Philadelphia Runner in Center City, and I got some Brooks shoes. I got the Brooks Glycerins, and they were gray and yellow. It was a very weird combination, but I was obsessed with them. So it was 2006. And I put together this running club, and it was me and about 12 other people and a couple of professors, and we would go run twice a week after school. We'd wait till all the classes were done, and then we'd go run, and we'd run down Boathouse Row and sometimes up Kelly Drive. And if you're familiar with Philadelphia, you know these places are amazing places to run. And then we started doing 5Ks and 10Ks together. And then my second year or third year of law school, a good friend of mine in school passed away of ovarian cancer. And so we signed up a massive group of students to run this 5K in her honor. I don't even remember what it was called, but it was an ovarian cancer benefit for ovarian cancer research. And we all ran it together. And that, for me, that was the match that lit the fire. Aside from just running with people to learn about them and to learn the city, seeing running almost as activism became a thing that I was really excited about.
I was going to ask.
Then I moved to Nashville. Oh, sorry,
I was going to ask if like the community aspect overtook the running aspect, because you're all doing this for a friend and for the memories of that friend.
100%. If I could do that and not run and still stay in shape, I totally would. If I could get all of the people out of it and the environment and the reaction of people that do something for somebody that they love, but then I moved to Nashville, and I took a friend's advice and went to one of the trail mixers that Fleet Feet puts on here. And I fell in love with trail running.
Like, so you literally
fell down twice. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I wore road shoes because I didn't know any better. I didn't know there were specific trail shoes. I mean, this is 2009. Yeah. And, and immediately I just was hooked on trails. And, 2016, I got hooked on ultras, and now I have the same mental craziness as the rest of you.
What was the lure to go to the ultra distance? Snacks?
Yeah, actually, snacks. 100% snacks. No, I work in the music industry, and I was on the road with a couple of guys who were in the band of the artist that I worked for, and they were ultra runners. And I watched them get ready in the morning and go run in these beautiful places that we were in, you know, Bozeman, Montana, and Pocatello, Idaho, and Lake Tahoe, California. And I thought, I want to do that. But it's really hard to do that if you're not looking to put up big miles. Like, it's really hard to go run, you know, 25 miles if that's not something that you're already training for. Like, I don't think I could just wake up tomorrow and go run 25 miles if I haven't prepped for it up the side of a mountain.
Right.
It's not some people. But yeah, and we call them the road bros. I call them that. They now call themselves that. And now there are 3 of them. We have brought another one into the fold because he's also a musician in town, an ultra runner. And there's actually a documentary about the 3 of them. It's called Rhythm in the Darkness. And if you haven't seen it, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. You can see my friends, you know, look crazy and late stage of the race, angry and cranky. Well, not angry, but hangry.
Yes.
And, you know, doing the thing.
How fun is that?
So yeah.
So it sounds like there's like a little bit
Yeah.
of FOMO, right? Like seeing the pictures and being like, I'd
Yeah.
like to do that.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, where I run doesn't look like that. The street next to my house doesn't look like that.
Yeah, no.
I would like to see those views.
Yeah. Somehow that pine tree and the street lamp are not the same.
No, not at all.
Do you have a place that's a bucket list place that you'd love to be able to go and run at?
Yes. And only because I was injured the last time I was there. I went to Bozeman, Montana in 2016 when I was on the road, and I was injured, and we stayed at the foot of the mountains. And so every morning, we were there for 5 days. Every morning I had to look out the window of my hotel room at the mountains, and there was nothing I could do about it.
Interestingly enough,
yep,
the day that this episode comes out, we'll be producing a Fiery Embers episode with Jess Serra, who is the VP at Salt Stick, and she lives in Whitefish, Montana. Oh, yeah. So what are the chances?
Montana is such a beautiful place.
Yeah, what are the chances I'll be talking about Montana on 2 different podcasts on the same day? There's so much.
I mean, it is beautiful.
There's just so many places to want to go that are so beautiful. This whole work thing stinks, man. It just gets in the way.
Work is a 4-letter word.
Harold Benally has chimed in. Antelope Canyon, X Half Marathon. It's a race that he hosts. It's the most epic place to do. Antelope Canyon is a beautiful area. I've run a race out there in Antelope Canyon. I did a 50-miler, I think it was, out there in Antelope Canyon.
Oh, wow. Where is that? Is that is it Arizona?
It's where the horseshoe bend.
I love Arizona too.
You know, the classical image, the classic image of the horseshoe bend with the river, Colorado River. That's where it is.
Oh, nice. Well, hit me up. I want to come run out there. For me, I won't say the crappy part. I love living in Nashville. The downside is I am so far away from the West Coast, which is where a lot of the races that I really want to run are. And so racing for me becomes very expensive because I've also got to pay for a flight, for a hotel, you know, so on and so forth. And it's a little easier on this side of the country. There are plenty of places here that I can drive to that are beautiful to run in, but there's not a whole lot like running, you know, in Lake Tahoe or even in Portland and then, you know, Washington and places like that. It doesn't compare.
Did you see the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse story I posted today just to the Clubhouse members about a discount for a race?
I have not been online.
Okay. Well,
I haven't been online much.
Well, we have a membership discount to the Salt Lake Foothills Trail Race, which has from a 10K up to a 50-miler. So 10K half marathon, 50K 50-miler in the Salt Lake City foothills. It's hosted by Josh Rosenthal, who is the founder of Borderlands. And we've got a 10% discount for our club members. So It's September 17th. The race takes place in May. You have time to save your pennies
Okay.
and make plans because it's on the.
Or maybe I could just put an artist there
Yes,
doing a show
yes,
right
yeah. It's
before.
just work. Absolutely. It's
Please don't tell my clients I ever plan anything like that.
nobody's on the internet. Nobody will listen to this.
Thanks for the flight, guys.
It was a semi announcement that is going to be one of the stops on the Run Club tour for 2026, where Lori Santino and myself
Nice.
will be traveling around the country to try to meet as many people in the clubhouse as we possibly can.
I love that. And I love that you guys are doing that because it is so much about community.
Yeah.
And I think people that embrace, look, if you want to go run by yourself and that's your jam, may the odds be ever in your favor. But running is a team sport
Yes.
that you can do by yourself.
Did you happen to see or listen to the episode with Truth Bachman, the Fireside Chat episode with Truth Bachman from probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago? Well, they talk about finishing the marathon being a team sport. And they are so right, and you are so right that, look, you're going to have days where you're going to have to run by yourself. I get it. Like even with a run club, right? Like somebody, you might have to run 12 miles according to your training plan and somebody's running 6. At some point, you're going to be on your own. That's definitely a part of it.
Yep.
But if you can do things as a community, or similar to what you said to your brother, look, we'll go to the same race, we'll hit the same aid stations, we'll cross the same finish line, but we're not together. But when you finish that race, the opportunity to talk to each other and tell stories and laugh, like, it's priceless. It's absolutely priceless.
Yeah. And he made me so proud. He said the last time that I was with him, we went on a vacation to Colorado, and he said, you know what? I think the next morning after we wake up and check out of the Airbnb, we should go back and watch the 100 milers finish.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I'm so glad you said that because I was going to do that anyway. And I was just going to be like, see ya.
That is
enjoy your drive back to North Carolina.
So here's the thing about all of this stuff, right? For me, anyway, it's about perspective. And I'll give you a story about how, or one of the many examples about perspective for me. I lived in Dallas, Texas for a number of years. And so I did a lot of races down there. And I raced Bandera a couple of times and I paced it a number of times. And one year I paced Allison Miller, who I just paced at the Vermont 100 as well. And I don't remember what place she came in, but Allison will podium. She's super fast. She's super talented. We finished pacing her, the 100K. We went back to the room or house or whatever it was that she rented with her and her husband and myself for the night. And we wake up and leave the next morning to go back to Dallas. And there were people still running. And I thought to myself in that moment, those people are badasses. Like, it's one thing to be badass in the form of fast. It's also something to be badass in the form of longevity when you're out there for, I think the cutoff for the 100K is 17 hours. For 17 hours. That is absolutely amazing. And it's just one of the many examples that I have of how I've been able to gain perspective on these sports, because I think to myself, I don't know how well I would do on a 100K course, 17 hours. It would be really, really difficult for me to mentally process that. And those people are doing it. And that makes, in my mind, more of an athlete than I am in that scenario. Like, it's just amazing to watch.
Yeah. And there's a certain amount of grit that people who are, because I sometimes am a back of the packer. Like, it depends on, what my knee is doing, what my trainings look like, and what else I have run. Yep. Because as I mentioned before, I do really stupid things in stack races. Maybe not my best idea, but I have a lot of fun. But there is a certain level of grit that back of the packers have, because they know when they take a step off the starting line, I'm out here. I'm out here until I'm not. And so for me, that is such a dig deep moment.
Yes.
And I realized that in my 100 miler, I ran the first 50 pretty quickly for me. And then my knee started going more and more, and the weather started changing. And it ended up being some very, very, very slow miles. I kind of picked it up after the sun came back up, and, I babied my knee a little bit and got a little bit better. But that grit is something that I carry with me even now that I did not know that I had
Yeah.
in me. I knew that I had stick-to-itiveness, and I knew that I had perseverance just because of some of the things that I've been through in my life. I did not understand the level of grit that it takes to stick it out and to not get pissed off and quit, and to not, say, oh, I'm only 10 minutes ahead of this, aid station cutoff. I'm not going to make it. No, keep going. That's grit. That's perseverance. That's badass.
And that's the stuff you take off the course into negotiations, into relationships, into life in general, is that tenacity and that ability to say, I can do better, I can be better. And you then make the people around you better because you're like, no, we can do better. We can be better. We can go longer. We can go faster. Whatever it is in that section of life that's outside of running or swimming or cycling or whatever the endurance sports may be. And I think that's one of the things that I love about our sports is the translatability. If I just created a word, Merriam-Webster, hit me up, that we could take from running into sport and then, or into life, and then from life into sport. And I just think like those experiences are amazing to have.
And running is problem solving constantly. And the longer you go, whether that's time wise or distance wise, all you do is solve problems. And so when I step into, a negotiation for a client, which I actually did use, I 100% used my 100 as a negotiating tool. We were working on some contract terms that I wasn't real happy with, and the other party sent a kind of snarky email, and I responded and I said, I just spent 30 hours in the woods running 100 miles. No, we will not be accepting these terms. And the response was, okay.
We're bumping up.
Like, you can't hit me. You can't hit me where it hurts. I just spent 30 hours in the woods.
These are words on a sheet of paper. I can handle this.
Yeah.
I love the idea of like, I do dumb shit. So I don't know if I told you this story. So years ago, like my goal was to get into Western states. So I was going to do whatever races I needed to do to get my tickets into Western states. Well, I didn't know anything about Western states in the idea that there were only certain races that qualified for Western states entries. I just assumed it's a 100-miler. That's it, right? Like you did it. Congratulations. I just like, they all count. And so I registered for the Coldwater Rumble, which takes place in Phoenix. And again, I just assumed because me and details.
Is that one of Jamil's
What's that?
races? Is that one of Jamil's races?
Yes. Because I'm me and details when it comes to race packets and stuff like that are like oil and water. Like I hit register and I move on. Well, I go to look at Western states and I'm like, oh, where is Coldwater Rumble on the qualifying races? And it's not there. And I was like, oh shit. So I immediately register for Rocky Raccoon, which is exactly 14 days later. So I race. Yeah. So I raced Coldwater Rumble the first or last weekend of January, first few days of February, and then 2 weeks later run Rocky Raccoon 100 so I can get my Western States lottery ticket. So doing dumb shit, I'm with you. Like I'm right there. It happens, people. read the directions.
It makes life.
Read the race director's packet when they send it to you. Read that whole entire PDF.
And I have to remind myself that sometimes those are not suggestions.
Correct.
They're rules. I'm like, oh, I have to do that?
I will tell you, like at the canyons, they were like, you have to carry, and it was a litany of shit, like just so much crap. And I don't think they understood that we were racing in California. I think they thought we were racing in like the fucking Dolomites in Switzerland because it was like an electric.
The North
Yeah, like you had to have the blanket and the mylar all the foil, like all this crap. Like my running vest must have weighed like 100 pounds. I'm like, why do we need all this shit? We're
Mhm.
never gonna. There's 0%
Yeah.
chance we're ever using this. Like, why?
Yeah. I'm like, why do I need a emergency blanket for a 50K? Like, I'm sorry, what? How long do you think I'm gonna be out here?
If I need that emergency blanket, shit has gone really sideways.
Yeah. Someone please come get me.
I have a tracker. You know
And the
exactly
worst
where I
part,
am.
yeah. The worst part is when they check one thing. Like they ask for one thing just to check that you've got it all. I'm like, what if I only have that emergency blanket and I don't have any of the other things you suggested? So I guess some people get
Good
lucky
luck to you.
and they ask for what they have.
This has been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for joining me. But before I let you go, we're going to have to jump into our rapid fire food questions, which take your time.
Oh boy.
There's
Okay.
no rapid in these food. They're just food questions. I need to change the name. Just food questions.
It's more the
You're,
slow burn food questions.
that's right, because that's who we are. We're candles, not matches.
Can we get a shirt that says that?
Absolutely. I will call Scott at Sloth and Duck. We'll have him up on the website in a couple of days.
We're
I
candles,
run
not
ultras
matches.
because, yeah, we
Yeah.
have to do that. All right, you ready?
Yes, I think. Yes.
Oreos. Are you an old
No.
school Oreo? No, not at all?
Um, only dipped in milk and only classic Oreos.
All right, I can live with that. I was going to give you a whole option, but I can live with dipped in milk and classic.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I interviewed Jason Fitzgerald. God, it's got to be like a year and a half at this point. And here was his trick for eating Oreos. He said you take the first one and you throw it into the glass of milk and you just let it disintegrate. And you eat your Oreos while you're dipping or whatever. And then when you drink the milk at the end, you get like this rush of like cookies and cream because the Oreo has just
Yeah.
disintegrated in there.
And I can almost guarantee you he learned that because he accidentally dropped the first one time. This is how we discover things in the kitchen.
As Bob Ross would say, happy mistakes.
Yep. Happy little trees.
Licorice, red, black, or no thank you?
Red and not very much.
Twizzlers or red vine?
I may have, yeah, Twizzlers.
Okay. You may have what?
I may have eaten too many one time. And I will put this as politely as I can. I did not feel well for a while. I was like, oh, that might have been a mistake.
If you had to guess, how many pounds of Twizzlers put you in this position?
Oh, it was a giant, and I was living on a tour bus. It was a gigantic pack that someone had given one of the artists that I worked with.
Oh, it's
And I just casually sat there eating them during the show and realized, oh shit, I ate the entire pack. And it was not just like your standard, there's 10, well, for lack of a better term, there's 10 vines, there's 10 twizzlers. No, it was basically the commercial size pack. And so it took me a very, very long time to get back into them.
when you so you're back to eating them, but in moderation.
Sparingly. Look, I went to battle with these things. So now they are allowed in my presence sparingly.
This is fantastic. To see, this is the shit you learn when you talk to people. This is fucking awesome. Peeps. Are Peeps an enjoyable candy, or are they just gold glitter mothballs?
They should go into the trash can immediately. Immediately. Kind of like when you buy lettuce with the intent to eat it and you're not going to eat it, so you might as well just throw it directly in the trash can. That's what you should do with Peeps too.
Do you have a camera in our apartment? I'm telling you, last night, Lori was like, why do we have fucking lettuce here? Just throw it out. We're never going to eat it.
I actually have some I need to toss out. Look, a past version of me had very, very high hopes for this version of me.
I will say this, like when we go to the grocery store, as everybody knows, I am a frequent flyer to the grocery store. I love getting the live lettuce. I love the live lettuce because that one I will eat. I think like if it's already like a chopped bag of lettuce or and it's sitting there, I'm like, I'll get to it. But if it's a live head of lettuce that still has the root ball on it, I don't know what mental switch it triggers on me, but I'm like, I gotta eat it, and I end up eating it. So that's my trick for getting more.
You have to eat it because it is $10 a
That's
head.
true too. And I am not wasting money.
Well, there goes half my mortgage.
Yeah, I am not wasting money. I'm eating all of that lettuce. Candy corn. Is candy corn a real candy, or is it just earwax covered in sugar?
The latter. I mean, I do not want to offend anybody for their confectionery preferences.
Yeah, but it's bad.
But I have questions about people who list candy corn as their favorite candy. Like, have you never tasted anything else? Like, is that the only candy you've ever tried?
So get this.
Because
we had Corey Waltering on our Fireside Chat years ago, and I
love him.
Fantastic human being. I asked him the Peeps question, and he said that Peeps were his second favorite candy. And I was like, no shit.
Corey.
I was like, so then what's number one? And he said candy corn. And I tell you, when I laughed for like 30 seconds, because the next question was going to be, is candy corn a real candy? Like, of all the combinations of candies to have in 1 and 2, I could not believe it. It was fantastic. It was great podcast history. Great.
It's a good thing I really adore him so much already because, my friend, you might have fallen in the ranks otherwise.
He is such a great human being. Like, anytime we ask him for something, he's there with it. All right.
Yeah.
Red velvet cake. Is red velvet a real flavor, or is it just chocolate cake dressed up to go to the prom?
It is a real flavor, and it is spectacular.
But only if you get it.
I don't like chocolate.
But you can only get it from a bakery. If you get it from like Wegmans or Winn-Dixie or Kroger, that's chocolate cake dyed with red food dye.
And it's usually dry.
Yes.
Like, if I wanted to eat cake crumbs, then I would bake a cake myself.
How has nobody made that yet? How has nobody made cake crumbs as a product? Because look, there isn't a single.
That gives me an idea.
There isn't a single person in this country who hasn't done this on their plate with the cake crumbs.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. It's kind of like the people who started selling the muffin tops. The people who just want the top of the muffin. Like, I think that's brilliant.
So now you know who my idol is, Kramer, because he has all the business ideas.
Love it. I grew up watching Seinfeld because my parents were obsessed with it. And then once it came back on in syndication, I watched it like in college and grad school and law school and whatever. And now I go back to it because it's such a comfort show in, some crazy times in life. It's like, oh, okay, I'll turn on a comfort show. It never fails. A show about nothing is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
100%. That's what our Fiery Embers podcast is. I've described it as the Seinfeld of podcasts. It's a show about nothing. Like, there's literally
I love that.
Like every guest has a different topic and all kinds of shit. Like Jess, Sarah, and Noah McDermott and I just put together an 8-stage run, try, bike cycling classic all across the world. And the reason we chose the locations was based on the food. Not for the climbing, not for the
I love
descending, but what we were going to eat in those locations.
I love that. I'll come on it someday and talk about my ocean, but only
Yes.
that for the whole time.
That's it.
The
I'm good.
Impossible Whopper from Burger King, the fries from McDonald's, and the drink from Sonic. You're welcome. Everybody listening, that is the ultimate post-ultra meal.
We're bumping up on time, but I have a few more food questions. A grandmother or an aunt, whomever it is in your family, has the candy dish that has the spiral mint, has the Werther's butterscotch, and has the hard candy strawberry in the strawberry wrapper with the filling in there that's soft. Which one is Adria taking out of the bowl every time?
The strawberry.
No way.
I buy those for myself sometimes because I'm 90 on the inside.
You're the first person to say the strawberry.
A geriatric person. Yeah, the strawberry.
It's awesome.
100%.
I love it. Okay. Tray of brownies comes out of the oven. It's sat on the counter long enough to cool just enough that when you put a knife into it, you won't ruin it. Are you going to the corner, the edge, or the middle for the ooey gooey?
Corner. No ifs, ands, or buts, and I will only eat the
and
corner.
I will arm wrestle anybody who wants any of those corners because, come on, you have to have a handle.
Mm-hmm. They're all four for me. But I would share two with you. If we were in the same kitchen, I would share two with you.
Awesome. I appreciate the love. I never understood
I got you, brother.
I never understood the ooey gooey fan. Like the middle, how do you hold it? Your hands are gonna get messy. I have one
right up there, candy corn people.
For brownies, do you like nuts or caramel sauce on there? Or just give me the straight brownie, dude?
I am kind of a traditionalist when it comes to brownies. I like them the way I grew up with them. So just give me straight brownies. I don't need it in a dress. I don't need it with glitter. Just give me the brownie.
Okay, I have one more question. This is how my podcasts that are scheduled for an hour end up being 7 days. When you're when you're roasting marshmallows, are you going just barely into the flame, toasted, slightly toasted, or are you going charcoal briquette?
I am standing in hell when I'm roasting a marshmallow. I am also on fire.
Yes, it has to be charred to smithereens.
Mm-hmm.
And here's something I learned, and I wonder if you already know this because you're way smarter than I am. Jennifer Comfort taught me that when you burn the hell out of it and you peel that outer layer off and you enjoying that smoky, charcoaly flavor, you put the remaining part that's all still melty and sugary back in the fire. I never did that. I never knew that.
I never thought of that. Wow. Okay, well, now I have to go somewhere with fire so I can catch marshmallows on fire over and over again.
You know where we're going to do that is at the Salt Lake Foothills Trail Race in May of next year.
So what you're saying is I should come to
Yes, I'm saying it. I'm selling hard on this one. My friend.
Hey, you never know.
Let's do it. We got, 8 months to make decisions, so we're good. My friend, thank you so much for joining me on this fireside chat. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Anytime for you guys.
Thank you. For those of you that have stuck around for this fireside chat, thank you so much. As I want to say, time is the greatest gift that we can give to anybody, and you've given me the gift of your time. So thank you so much. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, review, and comment on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network on your favorite podcast platforms. And I'll see you next week on the next Fireside Chat.